All right, guys, what is up? My name is Steven, and today I am going to be talking about how I increase productivity and manage multiple businesses using Notion. This is Building in Public Day 12. If you haven't checked out the rest of this series, I highly encourage it. It is just me building in public, pretty raw, pretty unstructured, but showing real day in the life stuff. But today I'm going to be talking about how I manage, you know, 6 projects, probably 5 projects, plus my personal and self-growth stuff. Um, the way I previously did this before Notion was I would just brain dump a ton of ideas, and I realized that it just didn't work for me. Even before that, I would just pretty much bottle everything up, and it was super hard to really manage things as they begin to scale, right? So if you take on multiple projects, if you have a ton of tasks at hand, and you're like trying to juggle between them, it ends up making you procrastinate. That's the only thing that ends up happening because you end up overthinking and overthinking and overthinking. And so you know, that really changed for me when I was introduced to Agile frameworks. And for those of you who don't know what Agile is, it's just a framework for getting things done. Um, if you are interested in learning more about that, I highly recommend you check it out on YouTube. It's super helpful. It changed a lot of how I do work. But it's this is pretty much structured off of Agile. I think the bottom line is you want to be able to stay organized, keep it in one place, and really just have really measurable goals that you can get to. So at the top of the funnel, right, at the top of it is you have this project or projects, right? Each one would be its own category. And then you have sprints, which are essentially objectives that you're trying to reach. So let's say for the studio, I want to increase the value proposition of the studio, then I would set that as an objective, right? So the project is studio, the objective is the next category, and then the tasks is how do I get to the objective? Now, I've done this on a ton of platforms, and I've used things like Linear and like different CMSs, and I've used pretty much everything under the sun with the hope of being able to keep both my life organized and the projects I work on organized. But I really wasn't able to because they are pretty commercial products, right? So what I ended up doing was I developed a Notion dashboard that helped me do the exact same things, but in a much more like life-friendly way, in a way that is a lot easier to approach for somebody who's not just running a company but may have other projects they're involved with. So that is basically the overview of this. I'm going to be going through my Notion dashboard, um, kind of walking you through how I do it, how I track productivity, and then, um, probably going to do some recap on what's happening with the site, what's happening with the businesses. But if you're interested in that, stick around. If not, here's all the Notion stuff. So let's jump straight into that. Let's go here. So first of all, this is just my Notion dashboard. I recently revamped it because I used to use a different structure for delegating tasks and managing tasks, but now I pretty much compiled it into one single dashboard. This is like the hub of it. This is like my quick glance, and this basically shows me how many tasks I have pending, how many tasks are pending per project, and then kind of tracks my productivity over, the course of X amount of days. So this is from the 5th to the 9th, and then this is, I started this here on Thursday, so it's Thursday to Monday, right? And these metrics are new, but the structure has pretty much been developed for a while. And then this is kind of the bread and butter of everything. This is the project management dashboard, and like I said, I like to break up tasks into easy to achieve projects. I like to break up projects into easy to achieve tasks, and the way I do that is here. What I've done is on the left side, I've developed projects, for all the things I have going on that I need to keep tabs of. So I have a studio build that you may have seen in the previous videos, YouTube build in public, which is what I'm doing now. I have a recording studio. I am helping my buddy get a motel off the ground, which is been a massive task. I'm doing rank and rents, which is really just SEO, and then I have my self growth and personal, like projects as well. And then in this view, I can also see pending task at a glance, but it's not my completed tasks because I don't really need to know what I've done. Instead, it's what's pending, and then I can see them by project. So here on the right, it lets me see, you know, which project has how many tasks remaining. That way I can, change my focus and make sure things are getting done. Some projects naturally will have more tasks even if you get more done. So this is more of like an at a glance view, and this would be like really personal, based upon, how you work. And then, I have those same views that were on the other page, once again, just so I have an at a glance look. But, when I really get down to it, what I'll typically do is I'll jump in this dashboard and I'll brain dump tasks, right? So I'll go into view all tasks and I will add a task. So let's say I need to follow up with Sunny about a West Coast tour, right? And then I would categorize that. If you look here at the top, it's by project, right? So I would categorize that by project. That would fall under my recording studio, right? And then I would categorize this by goal, right? Like objective. And so this would probably fall under client to do, and I put that, and then it's not started, right? I haven't followed up. And so this is where I just dump all the tasks. If I get a new task and I know it's going to be coming up, maybe I won't do it now, maybe I won't do it a week from now. It may be urgent or not. I just dump them here. Quick, easy, gets it out of your brain. That way you have less clutter and you're able to focus. And then you have back in the dashboard, you can see the sprint, right? Which is, in short, just the larger objectives, right? And I think this is particularly helpful when you're trying to get a specific task or like set of tasks done and you may not know where to start. So let's say, scale build in public YouTube channel, right? I know I want to scale this YouTube channel, but I don't exactly know what steps I need to do to get there, right? So what I'll do is I'll assign that to my larger project, which is YouTube build in public, and then I'll start finding the smaller tasks I can do, which is like hunt personal YouTube ideas. That's how this video came out. Make a video on productivity using Notion, right? That's how this video is also coming out, right? And you continue to dive into that. What's nice is you can just jump in here and just add a task, right? Like if I wanted to say like make YouTube thumbnails, which I'm not particularly interested in, but I can type that in here, right? Anyways, the bottom line of it is that the more you stay organized, the easier it is to juggle, because if you look at, let's say you take one of these, like the motel, which has a ton of tasks, right? And you look on the left, you can see the progression of each task, but in your head, it just jumbles up and becomes this overwhelming, at least personally, extremely overwhelming burden of tasks. So once you start laying it down on paper, quote unquote, because we're on the computer, then you can start just vetting them out. You can start flushing out ideas, you can get them out of your head, and then you're able to focus clearly. So anytime I jump into this dashboard, all I'm really doing is I'm looking at what task do I need to get completed, what's pending, and how do I do that today. I don't have to worry so much about, oh my God, I have this overload of tasks. I know they're all there. So I don't worry about missing things. Instead, what I do is I look through them, find out what makes sense. So today, let's say I wanted to see what's happening at the motel, right? There's a touch-ups punch list. All I would do is look here, say, okay, is this something I can do now in the next hour, whatever it is when I plan my day, and then deliver. And then once it's done, you just drag it to done and you're completely finished. So I think when it comes to managing multiple projects, multiple tasks, right? This might even be good for students, is, break it down by class, break it down by, like, say you have a quarterly test or a semester test, right? You can go in and say, okay, I have this test this semester. That's your project, right? Or your class. I would say your class is your project. And then under that, it would be your specific tests in each class. So say you just have 2 tests a year, right? It would be test 1, test 2, and then all the topics you got to cover in each test as tasks, right? And that way all you're doing is you're biting each task one at a time, knocking them out. When they're done, they're done. So I think if you really want to maximize your productivity, using tools is your best friend. I'm a big fan of using tools like Notion. I'm a big fan of using tools like AI. I have a specific calendar application called Routine that I really like. And I think these all help me focus more on the work and less on the organization. So I would highly, highly recommend anyone, whether you're a Notion user or not, to dive into tools. Check out tools like this. I have this template now available. I will make sure I post it as a link. And, I think that if you're doing that and then you're overviewing your productivity, right, whether it's by day, by week, by job, you'll continue to improve. And over the course of years of doing this, it definitely helps. I've used things like Obsidian for mind mapping. I've used things like Notion for mind mapping. I've used calendars strictly. I've used the Notes app in my phone. And I do find that overall, Notion helps me stay the most productive, and it lets me continue to do the tasks I need to do without really just being jumbled in my head. But that's about all I got. I just wanted to blow through it really quickly. If you guys are interested in stuff like this, let me know. This is just my way of staying organized. If you guys have any recommendations of things I should check out, I am more than happy to do it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like it, comment anything below. If you comment Notion, it helps me a ton with the algorithm. Outside of that, got nothing but love for you guys. I hope this was helpful in some way, and I will catch you on the flip side.